Well, Jake, the good thing about the Grindstone, the place where we do our thing, man, we have different venues. We're going to be on the couch one day. We're going to be out in the yard. Wherever we are, though, we're always going to be doing one thing, checking out the football games. We're about halfway through. Greg Selber, Jake Berry. And last week, of course, was rivalry week, right, over in Edinburgh and over in Farr and, boy, over in West Lakota, too, and Harlingen, too. It was
San Benito.
incredible. Yeah. It was one of the best weeks I can remember in a long time. A couple of surprises, but, we'll get to each of the things that happened in the past. We'll contextualize it for the present, and we'll ponder and look forward to the future here on the show that is really not quite the show anymore. It's, the wrap-up?
The wrap-up, yeah.
When did that happen? I'm still kind of out of the loop here.
Kind of at the beginning of the year.
Can we call it pomegranates?
Yeah.
Yeah, or bananas. Yeah, I like to call everything bananas. All right. It will be bananas in District 36A, man, because Memorial had enough of all the naysaying. And they came back and scored 70 points last week against Palmview. And so right now, hey, I think they're trying to reclaim the mantle of one of the top teams in the district, and I believe they've done so. Not that one game necessarily matters, but it was big for them.
Yeah, especially in that district. I mean, you're going to send a message. You said it right away. You said it early. And with them beating Los Fresnos and then coming back and with this effort,
70 points.
They're right back on track. And their defense is playing extremely well right now. And they're going to go against Mission, who struggled.
Yeah, Mission did struggle, man. They didn't get any offense going. And it was only a matter of time before, with that new rotation of guys, that they had a struggle night, and they did. And of course, La Jolla played pretty well too. But so Memorial at Mission, Mission needs to get back on top of things, man. They've not been 1-4, and that's a little surprising.
Yeah, and from where they started too, because I mean they played tough against Mission Vets.
It looked like they were coming.
Yeah,
and yet it hadn't happened for them yet. Now La Jolla, on the other hand. Wow. What a wild team it is. Once again, La Jolla for the last couple of years have been like Rivera down in Brownsville. You just never know. Right? Every week to week, I mean, they'll shut somebody out, and then they'll not score. They had 7 points the first 2 weeks. But right now, man, they playing at McAllen. And you remember last year, they beat the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
That's a good game all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you look at this, McAllen is trying to find their identity, and they got Gunnar Henderson coming back. I'm not sure if he's eligible yet. I think he is. He'll be eligible. He should be eligible for this game. So you're looking at right now, this is a McAllen team that's 1-3. They had a bye week in their first week.
Great time for it, I suppose. You know, you get a little bit healthy and maybe put some new wrinkles in. Maybe Gunner's in the axe. I want to know this. There was a guy named Ruben Farias, and there still is a guy named Ruben Farias, apparently more than one, that coached La Jolla in the 70s and Los Fresnos. And I still have not found out whether the current coach is related to him. Do you know?
No, I don't. But
can we get somebody from La Jolla? We got homeboys out there. Let's figure that out, because that'd be pretty slick if that was his son or his nephew or his cousin or whatever. And Ruben actually was a great baseball coach for many years. So I mean, I kind of want to do my learning there. I don't know that.
Yeah, it's the Valley, so you usually get a job because of that.
So, this guy is terrible, man. Hey, but what about Joseph Moreno?
Yes,
he came on.
Coach, we did lose track of your son because we thought he graduated, but now we found him and he's reemerged in La Jolla.
Yeah, he had a bunch of rushing yards, 123 receiving. No, he's a playmaker, and I think that's helped them out quite a bit. They still going with two quarterbacks, big, tall Irving Garcia, 17, and then the littler guy who's apparently a good player too. I think La Jolla has a pretty good chance, man. But McAllen, with a week of rest and with the pride that they have in that school and a great coach and Kevin Brewer playing at home, that's a game of the week to me, or one of the games of the week in the district.
Yeah, and I think what's going to have to happen is Gunnar Henderson, because of the way their offense is moving the ball right now, he's going to have to become Josh McGowan.
Yeah.
If you remember last year, Josh came in and he single-handedly beat Mission to come back in that game.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't even have an interception.
Yeah, an interception to steal the game for a touchdown. So he scored on a punt, kick return, rushing and receiving, and then
it was something else, man. He sure was. But that was then, and this is now. And so let's see what McAllen does. I mean, look, you're talking about a program that's used to being successful. La Jolla is looking like it might be a spoiler and an upstart. Who knows? Maybe it has what it takes to win district. In this league, we don't know. Lincoln and Palmview. Now, you told me this game before the season. I probably would have thought the Lobos would be having the upper hand, but they have not played well yet. They still have good players, but, man, this is the time. It's a rivalry game, so I expect it to be close. Lincoln, 17-14, they lost to Rowe.
That's a good lick, though. Take one from you right there. It was a good lick because you're looking at a Rowe team that was, scoring, playing really good defense.
Red hot, and still, man, I mean, they've played good defense all year. I think that holding Lincoln to 14, we said that. Lincoln averages 14.
Yeah.
Can Rowe score more than 14? They did.
Yeah.
17-14.
Just barely,
Lincoln at Palmview, right now, I don't think either one of those teams can say their season is set in stone. All right? So for Palmview, it's not been a very good start, man. They've made the playoffs once or twice the last couple of years. they definitely think that they're better than that. Whereas Lincoln, I mean, I think they probably could have beaten Rowe 17-14. So there's a lot on the line. There's a lot to prove in that game, and I guarantee you it's going to be loud and crazy over that stadium.
Yeah.
That's another one of those games I like to see. Now, speaking of Rowe.
This is awkward. This is an awkward game because, you know, you're talking about your off district week.
Yeah.
And you're going to play who?
Gruya.
Yeah.
Booyah to Gruya for playing that 6A team, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they got some players. They didn't hang with Rio Hondo too well, 50-28. But it's still a pretty solid team. And for Rowe, it's another day at the office, man. You're 4-0. You're on top of the world. They're probably going to break into our top 10. I ain't really sat down with you to look at who's going to do what. But, I mean, they're 4-0, right? They're undefeated.
Something to be said about that.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. I'd rather play a game than not. I mean, always want to play a game because then you start doing things that you're going to want to do in week 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, people the game, but do all kinds of interesting things. On Tuesday, put in some kind of weird package and just see how it works. You know,
and for Gruya, I mean, it only helps you later on because you already had 6A talent.
size.
Yeah, as long as you stay healthy.
Well, yeah, Rowe's not as big as it used to be.
No.
Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, they had 4 or 5 linemen that were just enormously so now they're not the same. But I'll tell you what, you can't say enough about the defense in this district. And Rowe and La Jolla have played 2 of the best defensive seasons so far. Now, it's pretty early. We're only halfway through, but you think Rowe can win the district? Let's just put them on the spot here.
Look, I'm going to say right now, I think you look between them and Memorial.
Yeah.
And I think right now you still give the edge to Memorial because they've just been there.
Yeah, they got more experience.
It's a different group of kids, but they've been there. And Rowe, missing out on the playoffs.
Right.
This is going to be
there's
a learning curve.
There is a learning curve, and so we'll see when those 2 teams play. When Rowe gets back to district next week, they just have to beat the teams they should beat. And here's the thing, we're going to talk about it later on. That's easier said than done. Ask Economides. They did not beat the Bobcats, and they thought they should beat the Bobcats, and we thought they would beat the Bobcats, but they didn't beat the Bobcats. So with 16, 17-year-old, you never know, man.
Yeah.
It's a good district, though. I'm tired of hearing people give it a bad name, man. You know?
Yeah.
I know this guy.
31-6A. Yeah, something else last week, too.
Where do we start?
Let's start with PSJ and Far North. Far North is going to be struggling a little bit because, well, a lot. Let's just be realistic. You lose Bo Adams.
Collarbone?
Collarbone.
Is he going to be back or no? Probably not. Huh?
From everything I've heard, I talked to Coach Kaufman after it happened. He was having surgery, and they're looking at him becoming an assistant coach. I think it was surgery.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but hey, you're gonna have a really good experienced coach right there. Helping out the younger guys. But
all right. Rene Ramirez, man, that's the guy. Darren Fuentes, they got players, man. But yeah, he's one of the best players in the Valley, and that's going to hurt you. It makes you less explosive, and it puts more pressure on the other guys having to do things on offense. Okay, well, but there's no getting around it. It is what it is. They play the Bears. And the Bears, are you surprised that Southwest beat the Bears? If there's a story, if it's Lopez or Rowe or Southwest, man, I'm telling you, man, PSJ Southwest is tough.
PSJ Southwest, you look at that team right there, they don't have an identity problem. I think there's a lot of teams that have identity problems. They know exactly what they run because they're running the wing tee.
Right.
And they're running it to the same way they ran, that whole staff, or a lot of that staff was at PSJ.
Right.
They know what they do. And they beat PSJ in
20-17. Okay, here's the thing. They didn't let them score.
Yeah.
Okay? So they kept the ball, obviously, and they got their 20, and they held them to 17. So, the Bears have been scoring a ton of points, and we're like, oh, can they score with the Bears? Yeah, they did fine. I saw, it wasn't us. What's the bloop? What is that?
Oh.
This guy with the phone. The modern generation. I saw PSJ Southwest, those kids on, I think it was Channel 4.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. They were like kind of starstruck at first, like, "Oh, what's up?" But Cordona, Justin Cordona, he's a quick little back, man. He's got that shoulder lean. Man, he was so humble and so cool. He didn't want to go on unless he had his offensive line. No, I think PSJ Southwest is one of the surprises of the district. They beat the Bears. Now the Bears play the Raiders, and if you remember correctly, about the last 8 or 10 years, especially about 6 or 8 years ago, that was the game that usually determined part of the district share, and it was always kind of an upset, right? Every time the Bears would have the upper hand, the Raiders would beat them, and vice versa. Those are great games with a ton of people over there. So I look forward to a good ball game, man. I mean, it's a shame about Bo Adams, man, but now, it's who's going to get in there. Somebody's going to get an opportunity to play.
Yeah. I can remember one guy who was on TV going, Fumble Rooski and all this kind of stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah. We won't mention names.
No need.
Yeah, but
Southwest plays Edinburgh North. Now, Edinburgh North played Vela on Friday. And it wasn't but 14-6 at the half. Vela had the fumbleitis, man. They fumbled 3 times in the quarter, and man, they were getting madder and madder like a bunch of hornets, man. When they got it together in the second half, boy, Robert Guerra, did you see the videos?
Yeah.
Were you at the?
I was there at the fourth quarter. Yeah.
By then, it was just a massacre, man. Look, here's what happened. North was great getting to the flanks in the early part of the game. Okay, they had lots of pursuit, and they were popping Robert, man. They were popping him. He didn't have to admit it. They were hitting him hard. Then that big line after halftime just started blowing them away inside.
Yeah.
So those guys made a great adjustment to start running the ball more between the tackles, man, because Robert can do that. He's strong as a bull. He may be 165, but he's a weight room wonder, you know. He had 4 runs, and I swear, man, one of them was early. 3 of them were in the third quarter. A couple of them, I'm not sure anybody touched him. I really am not sure anybody touched him because he's that quick. And the holes they had, man. Oh, they're mad at you. Baylor's mad at him. Because they say, well, why did he say we have a small offensive line or a smaller offensive line?
Smaller than normal.
Well, no Seth Palacios, but the new 77 is a big kid. And, of course, Jaime Alanis. I swear, Jaime Alanis looks like a Rice lineman. I mean, he's huge. He's a great player. They got a good line. They're not really mad at you, but they're, you know.
Yeah, so. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself for the penalties.
Oh,
but, anyway,
must be the money.
Yeah.
You're so bad.
Yeah, hey, but look, I'm going to tell you, when it matters, those penalties got to go.
Remember Vandergrift.
Yes.
You can't have them loss of poise penalties. Of course, look, it's North and Vela, and there was all kinds of fighting going on. So you were in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Okay. You saw that lick at the end on Christian.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, man? I'm not trying to start a fight.
I'm be honest with you. When you're up that much, there's no need.
Here's a scenario. We're not going to say a player.
But he slid horribly. Let's just say that.
True.
Much. Yeah, he did slide horribly.
All right, here's the rule. When a quarterback slides, you got to lay off.
Yeah.
But if I'm a second teamer and I want to get in the game in the fourth quarter, I want to play, I forget that. I don't think the kid meant to be dirty. I think he wanted to lay a lick, and he did. And it's unfortunate, and he got ejected. It was a penalty, and it should have been. But I walked away thinking, man, he just wanted to play.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on a second teamer, man, you're like, oh my God, here we go, I'm gonna do it. You know, I don't know. It was a bummer, and it was but a fitting into a game with a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
But,
now, so PSJ Southwest and North. I don't know. Did Christian have a concussion? We don't want to, you know, we're supposed not to speculate about injury.
Yeah, I don't know anything on that.
Look, it was like, remember when Steve Pallure got hit by Singletary?
Yeah.
It was like that, man. Christian was, you know.
He was out.
Yeah. And so the way the trainers are today, So, but you know what? Little Zuniga, man, he can play.
Yeah.
Kid came in, had a 15-yard run, the last play of the game, almost scored. No, he can play. He's accurate. He don't have the arm Christian has, but he's accurate, man.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. There's some programs. Insider knowledge here. There's some programs. There's at least one program that I know of. The coaches actually, you know, for the concussion protocol, you know, you've got to go through it. It wasn't concussion. It was an injury. You've got to go through the protocol for that one. You got to do it right because you don't. Let's be realistic.
What if something happens?
The majority of kids aren't going to go to college on college scholarships.
Right.
They're going to have a career in something else.
Right.
You know, the coaches have to go through this the proper.
I'm glad I'm not a coach because I would tell that trainer, get out of here.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this kid. He's got his bell rung.
And that's the problem right now. You know, but that you see around here. But you know, look. Regardless, Edinburgh North has to come back. If you lose to PSJ Southwest,
they'll be 0-5, man. That's not going to cut it.
And that pretty much seals it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. There's one guy for Edinburgh North that needs to be singled out. Not Singletary, singled out. Justin Garrett, 25, 4 for 81, ran a couple of times, and he got another fumble on the kickoff. You know, he ran down there, and the kid muffed the kickoff, and boy, he slid right under it. That kid plays hard, man. I'm not saying the other kids don't, because they do. They play hard. But he is starting to stand out to me as a special player, man. 25, you know, looks stylish in his uni, man. He's a cool kid, track guy. He's a hurdler. I really like him a lot because I just feel like he's very earnest and he does things the right way. He respects the game.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm not going to say that every player does that because there's some guys who are playing grab ass or showing off or being showboats. They don't respect the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know who is supposed to tell them what. I mean, I'm glad I'm not involved in it because I would be telling people off all day. That kid plays the game the right way, and I like that. And so I thought I'd mention it, not that I'm, you know, like he's my cousin or something, but I mean, I respect that.
Yeah. I think at this point, you know, you're just kind of trying to set the tone for the rest of the season. But don't get me wrong, I suspended 9 guys for no reason. Well, there was a good reason, but I suspended guys less for reason than that. You know,
things change, man. You know, things change. In the old days, you couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
In the old days, we can do a lot of stuff, and I think sometimes it just distracts the kids from the focus on the game. So if you're over there kind of jazzing around too much, man, I never liked it. And it's funny sometimes, and it's kind of cool in a way, but it's not.
Yeah.
And, it can get you in trouble, and it can hurt you yards and penalties in the game.
Yeah. Now, here's one thing that's really surprising, Greg. We have a couple teams that are in the lead for first place in 31-6A. When was the last time?
I knew it, man.
When was the last time you could say Edinburgh was in the tie?
In the first place, Edinburgh Bobcats will take on. Hey, man.
It's been a long
Nobody.
time.
Yes, it has. They ain't been in the playoffs since. I said 2010, 4 or 5 weeks ago, but it was 2011. 2010 was when they went to 3 deep and played in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah,
Alamo
Steve.
Doom, right? Yeah. In 2011, they lost the first round in San Benito. Remember that game? What can I say, man? They were down 14-3. They came back and won it. Now, is it DeAnthony? They say DeAnthony, but it looks like D'Antoni or D'Antoni.
It's DeAnthony. I got him in class.
Number 2.
Well, I will for a couple more
Number
years.
2, man. He looks like he ought to be in a novella, man. He's cool.
Yeah.
What a great game he had. Punted the crap out of the ball. Pinned him inside the 10 twice for Edinburgh High against the Jags. Ran a kickback from the 4 to 37 to the 21, set up the go-ahead touchdown. Made an interception at the end of each half. Hey, he's the player of the match. The man of the match, as they say in Europe soccer, right? What happened to Economides, man? They went over and beat Weslaco East, who then beat Weslaco's butt, and they didn't beat the Bobcats.
Yeah,
17-14 was the final.
Here's the thing. When you get out of your comfort zone, and look, I mean, I'll probably, get more hated than I already am.
Is that possible?
Yeah. But when you get out of your comfort zone and you start trying to pass the ball when you're a running team, and yes, I know that you say, well, we passed the ball. When you do it predominantly, and let's be realistic, I got to see the tape and I got to see the fourth quarter live. You look at that; they passed the ball. Their defense was on the field way too long.
Yeah.
And when they only had 18 yards on offense in the first half, supposedly, I don't know.
Here's the deal, and let me explain it.
Yeah.
Let me explain it, as they used to say. They ran the ball 5 times in the first half, which was phenomenal. We were like, wow. Michael Medellin couldn't go. He tried it in the third quarter. His hammy still hurt. Okay, fine. They decided that, man, I mean, they got those flyers. Pete Segura, by the way, goodbye, man. He's gone. And Boney, I mean, they had the players, right? They got a good-looking young quarterback. So they decided, instead of sticking with what they do, to go to a more pass-conscious attack. They threw 12 times the first half, 7 out of 12, and they had led 7-3. So it didn't work out too bad. But here's the problem: EHS kept the ball. They may have only gotten 3 points in the first half, but they ran 38 plays to like 16. Okay, so by the time the third quarter comes, you can see who's sweatier, whose jerseys are sweatier. Jags retired, man. They retired because they were Nathan was pounding on them. Nathan Manes. I thought the Bobcats did a good job of this. They rode Nathan Manes the first couple of quarters, but when things got to the second half, they put in Saul Ramirez, number 4. He got the corner, man. He made some nice runs. That dude is tough. So they had a bunch of guys who were getting yards. They had 360 yards offense.
I think their second touchdown in the second half, you were next to me going, no, don't do that. And somehow, look, sometimes the luck of the Irish is with you.
Indeed.
And he somehow got into the end zone. He looked like he was dead to rights, and he squirmed into the end zone.
Oh, the one where he almost put a hand down or something? Yeah, look, the Bobcats needed it, and they wanted it, and they played pretty mistake-free football, man. Whereas the Jags, I mean, they had a couple of bombs, one to Segura and one to this little number 1. It was Barrientos. He had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
But when you're not used to throwing a ton, you're just not going to be as sharp. Or if you are, then it's a surprise, man. And I looked at Michael, and seeing if he could go, and he couldn't. And that's just, he's really a special back this year. I mean, he can get the corner. So the Jags wore out, and they gave up that lead. And man, on the sidelines in the fourth quarter, they were down, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody said they're going to kill a team, and when you don't do that, that makes the next week very, very delicate. All right, psyche-wise. Because we can say, well, they've been in the playoffs 3 out of 5 years. They believe, and they do. And Gabe Payne has done a great job. But this is an interesting week. It's a tough week, man, because you're not supposed to lose that game. And they know it, and they're mad. So now how do they respond? And not just on Friday, but Monday. I'm always talking about Monday. Yeah. How do your kids come out the locker room? Are they all late?
Do they come? Yeah.
Right. Do they have an excuse? Oh, man, I got this and that.
I got ice.
Right. Yeah. Or are they back out there saying, you know what? Let's figure this out. So who does Jags have coming up?
PSA Memorial. So in PSA Memorial, 0-4, 0-1 in district. They lost to Far North.
Yeah, 44-14, man. They're having a rough year. I don't know. I don't really want to speculate, but, man, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't sound very good right now. That they got to find some way to get going,
Yeah, and the thing about economies, look, you've already been through one upset You don't want that second one right there. It'd be at the hands of PSA Memorial.
Memorial's had a tough year, and what you don't want is to have to play a team that's pretty good coming off of an upset loss to a rival, man. Because if you're not lucky, they're going to kick the tar out of you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? This is the Wolverines, us against the world mentality. Let's go for broke. Let's throw a bunch of crazy plays, halfback passes, whatever. What you got to lose, man? Because what they have been doing is not working. 160 yards on offense total, Zika. And so let's just see if they can make it happen somehow. I hate to see any team go winless, man. They just right now they're up against it.
Yeah.
What can I say? Now, is that it for the district? No. Well, we got to talk about Vela more.
Yeah, and look, Vela is now. If you look at this, with Bo Adams hurt, this is Vela's district to lose. I mean, really. I mean, because Economies is down a game. You know, so really all Vela has to do is take care of those things.
Hold serve with everybody. I think I saw some good things from the defense. Now, North did have its share of yards, man. But Vasquez, number 30, had 10 tackles for Vela. He had a good game. And this kid, Nick Enriquez, man, he looks like a different guy this year. Man, he's gotten a lot bigger, playing that safety position that Taylor Clow, Rhinesville Powell played. And, man, he's starting to make as many tackles. He's making more tackles per game than Taylor did.
Yeah.
All right? And he'll get fumbles. He forced one and recovered it himself in the game. No, he's a playmaker, man. He really makes a ton of plays. The defense is better, I think. That little Luis Gutierrez, that sophomore I told you about, had a nice game. He got hurt, but I saw him back in there later. Pablo Trevino, 78, came back and played a real good ball game. No, Vela, they have the look of a team that's probably not going to lose in district, man. I mean, who knows? They may not, but with the offense they have and with the defense coming around and with the injuries that have happened and the upsets, it's theirs to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, you would have put the Raiders and Economies with them. And Economies is probably going to be there.
They still run the table until the last game when they play Vela.
Yeah, and so, Economies has got to turn it on now. And PSC North, you're just trying to find somebody to take over for Bo.
Darren, hey, look, if they have another quarterback, don't be surprised to see Darren doing a little slot action or running back, because he's a good athlete. Hey, so you're telling me, as an EHS alum, not quite in school, but as an employee, do they have a chance against Vela?
Here's my thing. Defense is playing well enough, and the offense, I think you got some wings playing against Economy. He's playing well in the second half.
And I don't know if I didn't send you this story because I was out of town this week. I couldn't write for the site. My apologies. First time in years. They worked the flats, man, and they threw passes to the backs. Praise be to Jesus for people who throw to the backs, man, because you ain't got to worry about throwing about 40 yards downfield or a 20-yard out that high school kids can't throw. Throw to the backs, man. That little 24 for them, bleep, he went 60 yards just like that.
Yeah, and look, if you haven't watched, and I'm a big Carson Wentz fan, and North Dakota State.
He was insane, yeah.
But like the way, look, you want to make your transition really easy. If the rush is coming, you throw it right back to the flats or the screen. And,
nice to have Sproles.
Yeah.
If you got a Sproles, man, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. But and that's a lot of the players that you have down here are scat backs like that. So as soon as they catch the ball, they're water bugs.
And so, Coach, here's what we got. You got a game in which the Bobcats wore out the Jags on the flat. They came up the box, and all of a sudden, bloop, bloop, bloop. So don't you know the Vela saw that? So now what they're going to do, it's a chess game. Here's where the coaches come into play. Who's going to try to do what to whom? So they're going to be in the flats, man. Yeah. They may even drop an end as we used to do in the old days.
Zone it, or they, because they're not going to go man in there because you're going to want somebody there. So you're going to zone that. You're going to zone the flat. So does that mean that you open up the middle of the field?
And here's the thing: Edinburgh's got a big old tight end, 86. Freddie, I think his name is. He's a big, good-looking athlete, man. I mean, he hadn't had a chance to really do much, but maybe this is his moment in the sun. Yeah. In other words, if they come out and get you on the wings, then they don't want to try to do that too much, though, because Nathan Modis is a pounder, man. He's got some moves. He's a good back. He's got like 4-something this year.
Yeah. And the one thing, look, I'm going to say, a lot of people say the defense played really well against Economies. The offense did. The offense was the reason why the defense was fresh.
Right.
So that's what needs to happen again.
Can we say now that, after a couple of years worth of struggling on the offensive line, that Edinburgh High offensive line deserves a lot of credit? And, quite frankly, they're playing with a little more fire. They're not laying back waiting to lose, man. They're trying to find a way to win. Gratifying indeed. Yeah. If you're a Bobcat fan. All right, so we'll stay here and go for 32-6A because, oh, boy.
Hey, this is a great district. And you look at this, even the teams that are 0-1
might win it.
Yeah. And you know, you
Like Weslaco.
Yeah.
They didn't show up against East, did they?
I was there at that game, and it was incredible.
64 yards rushing. They usually have that on a series.
They were passing. They went to it like they had to start passing. I mean, their lone touchdown was a pass into the end zone. So, you know, it tells you something when Weslaco's passing to score.
And it's not because they wanted to. It's probably because East made them, man. That's a good defense. I told you guys at the beginning of the season. I told you about Duran, all those other guys. I think that they have a pretty good ball club.
Yeah.
Vargas broke free.
Yeah.
Cutback touchdown.
And Pedraza, Roy Pedraza, incredible. His best game of the season. You know, just he went crazy.
158. You know why he's able to do what he does? One, because he's good. But two, because they got enough other guys on defense that they don't need him to make 20 tackles.
Yeah.
They have enough talent on defense where you can free a guy to go over the other side of the ball because Castro's been hurt.
Yeah, and they're going to go against East. Is going
I'm
to
here.
You want me to get your water?
No, I'm all right.
All right. San Benito struggled against Los Fresnos. Los Fresnos went ahead, early, and
John Salazar again. I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw the video. He's pretty good, man.
Yeah, he's fast. Gets quick to the outside.
Yep. 2 touchdowns, 1 short and 1 long.
Yeah. So you know, this is no easy game for East.
No,
and
it's a
no
great
easy
game
for San Benito. This is this is over there at Bobby Morrow. So right? Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to find out which team does East establish itself right away like it did against Weslaco, or is it going to be like against
Economides. And the theme is this, Jake. What team will get out of what it wants to do?
Yeah.
And why? Because if you do, that's a weakness.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to say about it, I'm not trying to pick on any coaches because, you know, they're my buddies, man. But, I mean, that's what it means. Who will assert their will on the other team? And who will make that other team say, uncle, and go try something else, right? How about this? The Greyhounds were down 13-0, man.
Yeah.
That showed me a lot, okay? Because they fell down early. Salazar going bananas.
On the road.
Yeah. And they came back. God, Isaiah Trevino's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Medrano last year, and I could go back and tell you about receivers that the Greyhounds had back in the old days, man, when they had Henry Cavazos throwing these long bombs down the field, man. Who was the kid they used to have? Oh, they had a bunch of receivers. Had a Keelan Ton or two, too. Yeah, and Ronnie Gonzalez. And you San Benito fans, you got to holler for Ronnie Gonzalez, man. This guy was like the Valley's Roger Staubach, dude.
Really?
Good-looking kid, great student. Yes, sir, no, sir. Went to church, man, but was a great quarterback. When they finally got off the Ziggy there after 20-some years and had a winning season in 89, then 90, he was real good, man. Number 2, I covered them almost every game. And Tommy Roberts was the coach. That was a lot of fun, man. So, San Benito showed me something coming back from 13-0. Because if you're in a paper tiger, you don't.
Yeah.
But if you're number 1, you do. They're number 1.
Yeah.
What else is there? Bird Bowl.
Oh, man.
South was ahead at the half.
Yeah, and, you know, it looked like they could pull ahead. I mean,
they're a pretty good team.
But Harlingen is a different team with Tienda. You know, you see him back in now, and it shores up the running game, and then it opens up
the screens.
Yes.
The screens they run are precision, man. They must work on that 24 hours a day. It was Nathan Martinez, I think, went a distance on one. Tienda on another, and they do it. It's not just a screen out of the backfield. There's some bubble and tunnel screens too, and that's not that easy to throw. Don't think that it is. I mean, you know, yeah, there's no defense like up on you, but you got to get it there, and you got to get it there in a hurry, and you can easily screw it up. I just think sometimes that bubble and tunnel screen, I think to myself, God, kid, don't float it out there, because if you got a really strong safety, or someone's going to be like, bam, bam, touchdown. It happens, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's run perfectly, here's the deal: the kid got to come to the ball. If you wait for it, then you may give someone a chance to have it. But if you come to the ball 1 or 2 steps, and that's what they teach you. No, those highlights, Harlingen looks good running that screen.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
Now, interesting thing, you know, is they're going to go against Rivera this week. You know,
Lost to Hannah, what, 26-14 or something?
Do they have a letdown? You know, does Harlingen have a letdown, or they use this to shore it up?
I'm just going to predict that they don't, because they have been behind the 8 ball most of the year. And I think that they really are going to keep it going, man, because they can't rest on these laurels because they barely beat the South. They were behind at the half. So if it hadn't have been for some big plays on those screens, hey, man, South was right in the ball game, man. So no, I don't think there's a letdown. I think when it gets to be close to October, man, the winner's going to come out, and I think they're going to take care of Rivera. I haven't seen much of that team this year. Hannah, though, Hannah not bad.
Yeah, and they'll be playing Weslaco this week, and
Coach Tony's old team, one of them.
Yeah, and Weslaco's going to be licking their chops because they need a win, they need it fast, and they need to correct this thing that happened last week where
they got dominated, man.
Yeah.
64 yards rushing. The East deserves a lot of credit, man. They have I'll tell you what, I really believed in that defense when I saw the names coming back from last year, and So far, they've performed pretty well.
And Coach Burgett got a trim.
He did?
Yeah.
This guy, man. Burgett's always got something up his sleeve, man. Those coaches in Weslaco are fun.
Yeah.
So Weslaco and Hannah, okay. Hannah's got to diversify a little better. You know, they got that good running back I told you about.
Matt Garcia?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, no.
No.
Luis Lopez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's 22. 22, he's a defensive back.
Yeah, I'm thinking defense here.
Yeah. I'm talking about Jaime Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's good, man. That guy is something else. And, they actually, man, look, they're still a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
I really feel like they are.
Their D is tough. Because, sorry, the guys I'm mentioning, Garcia and Lopez. Their defense is tough. You know, we're going to find out how tough they are right now because they got to play against a very tough Weslaco team.
And a mad Weslaco team.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how Tony's going to be able to use that in the locker room. He's going to have those guys frothing at the bit and ready to kill somebody. And I use that term figuratively, of course. Now, I would hate to be Hannah, but on the other hand, I think it's a pretty good team, man. Let's see if they can stand the early onslaught from a mad team. That's kind of what that game boils down to me.
Our two tough games in this one are East and San Benito, but
Right.
also Los Fresnos and South. You know, and talking about two teams, 0-1 in district.
Yeah, both lost, but they're both good.
Yeah.
Right? Los Fresno's 2 in a row, by the way. Though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're kind of starting to go, all right, what's up here? They just played a hard schedule.
Yeah.
I still think they're a very good team. And I think the way South played against the Cardinals, man, they showed that they're pretty good, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, you're talking about DQ game of the week, and, it could have been, we'll fold early. No, they had the lead.
Yeah.
They looked like they could, and then...
They had a lot of energy, man.
Yeah.
A lot of energy, and, it didn't turn their way. It was, what, 23-16 or
Yeah.
24-16? It is 8 in a row for the Cardinals. And, that's just the way it works. But I remember 06 and 07. The South has had its moments, and I think that team has arrived as a unit that we can, fear or be proud of or whatever down the stretch, man. So it's going to be big against Los Fresno. That's a fun game.
Yeah.
Anybody's ball game, man.
Yeah.
So 6A is down the hatch, as they say, and, man, there's some things that I shake my head at. But that's the beautiful thing about it. Because once you think you can count everything and you got it, you ain't got it. I ain't got it, right?
Yeah.
All right. 5A's are next.